Hello, everyone. It is Kenyon here. It is Basketball Rewind. We are going live right now after the Raptors have won 117 to 104 against the Grizzlies, who do not have Bonzi Wells, but someone who is unrelated to Jalen Wells. But before we get into that game, I do want to say the Thunder are starting the season off 7-0. That is a really, that's a feat that has not been done very often. It is rare and something to keep an eye out as people continue to doubt their ability to, um, you know, defend their championship. How are you doing, Beyond? I'm joined by Beyond. Check his channel out in the link in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe on your way in. And then that's what we're here for. uh, touche.
Coming in hot, boy. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, don't. There's a lot of ways I could go with that, but I will not. Beyond, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. All right, man. 4-1. Good seeing you and hearing from you. I'm good, man. I'm good. This has been a strange season. Though. We got 7 games in.
We are 7 games in. The Raptors are 3-4. The first quarter, this was a tough watch, not because the Raptors weren't winning, but because it was one boring game, to be perfectly honest.
It was a
And
slog, man. It was a slog. Thank goodness the Bills and Chiefs were on at the same time. It was rough.
yeah, I just like last night, I studied a little bit through the
Hey,
game. So yeah, um,
man. Hey, Effie boy, tell you, man, it's been a rough 24 hours, my friend. It's been a rough 24 hours. Don't start me on these Jays, man.
yeah. We're don't worry, we're not gonna go too long with that.
No, man. I will be coming out with a pod on that one. You get the full breath of my thoughts on what we saw and what we
Yeah,
witnessed.
tough loss is what I'll say, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, on to the game. The Raptors, see, after he did what I did, he stopped watching. Um, yeah, so it was an interesting game because the Grizzlies, the Raptors basically have 2 games in a row where they have faced teams that have not really been at their full strength and have not provided a good test of metal in terms of what we're going on. So while they did get the win, it was not the type of win that you kind of come away from. The last 2 wins, really, it's not the type of wins that you come away from where you're like, you know what I mean, like feeling strong and whatnot going into the rest of the week, the start of the week, really. What are your thoughts? I don't know if I want to recap this entire game because it was like I said a slog, but I'll quickly give a quick summary of things. So the first quarter, it was 26 to 23 for the Raptors. 27 to 24 for the Raptors, then 31 to 24, and then both teams scored the same amount in the last thing to end things off. And of course, if we look at the game charts, and I'll see if I can bring this up for people on the screen right here. Just give me one quick second. Usually I have this a little bit more already pre-set up, but today we are doing this a little bit impromptu. So today, as we have, sorry about this, the key stats right here is the Raptors for once were able to out rebound the other team. Um, and really just dominate the other team in a lot of areas. Obviously, they were a better shooting team tonight from an overall standpoint, but again, it just wasn't that pretty of a game. So yeah,
Yeah.
yes, credit to Scotty. We should get into Scotty Barnes stuff, but do you have anything to add in terms of this slog of a game?
Well, I mean, like it's hard to judge with the competition they've had the last 2 nights. I don't know what to make of this overall. I do think there are some interesting trends happening. something that has not stopped. And I think when we get in the Barnes discussion, I think that's something to get into. But overall, substitution wise, Grady back in the fold tonight. That was interesting.
He
We
emerged
thought
from the
he was going
bench
to go to
from the
Siberia pretty
abyss.
much at this point. But hey, an appearance again, and pretty much no minutes for Jameson Battle. So that was interesting. I guess Darko was like me. He wasn't really believing in it in this case. Ready to start the ticker tape parade there on University Avenue with
Yeah.
Jameson Battle. So I guess he's figuring out something now. So that's good for that standpoint. And RJ, Bi, they're clicking. You can say those two definitely have figured out a routine and figured out when to kind of hand the baton off to each guy. I found Ingram being very selective on his shot on when he kind of inserts himself and stuff like that. That's been an interesting little battle to see how that's been playing out. Quickly, you know what? For a guy we've been killing in this case here, it wasn't pretty again tonight, but considering how bad the performances have been, this was actually barely treading water. I think I would say that's a win. I'll go with the do no harm. For the most part, you didn't do any harm tonight. So I'll say that.
That yes, that is true. I think yeah, like quickly was okay today. I mean, it wasn't spectacular, it wasn't bad, it was muted, but sometimes less is more on this team. Brandon Ingram obviously shot the ball well today. Was able to get his shot off pretty well. Now, in terms of defense, I'm going to start with defense really quickly. So, the coach pointed something out. You know, and that is credit to Scotty on the defensive end. I think he made really good reads throughout the night. I think he was really solid, and the numbers showed it as well. Defense doesn't always show up in the numbers, but 5 blocks, 1 steal. That is actually really really great impact on that end. Where I would say that people might want to be mindful of is this is a little bit of a phony number. This was actually in the 30s until the last little
2 or
bit of
3
the game
possessions.
until
Yep.
till garbage time until he bumped it up. So
Mm-hmm.
for the longest time, it was closer to like 5 of 15 kind of a thing, and this is where I would focus on. I thought that offensively, the process wasn't as great today. Not in terms of visibility to pass the ball to other guys. That is kind of stabilized and has done well. I have to say he's done a better job this year of kind of managing a possession when he doesn't feel like he's not forcing possessions quite in the same way as last year. But this his offensive game definitely does have to work, continue to be a work in progress. So, but overall, I thought it was a solid game by him. I think the second best player, in my opinion, on the court tonight was actually the guy right below him, and that was CMB. I'm going beyond just what, yeah, Ingram had 26 points, shot the ball well, but really CMB had a lot of hustle plays that really showed off really, really well, in my opinion. There's one where the ball was kind of going out of bounds. He quickly jumped out of bounds, passed it to Scotty. Scotty passed it to, I believe, IQ. And just like the fact that a guy can give you second and third chances on a single possession or a single trip down the court, I think that's really, really important. Mamu did not have a great game, didn't add him to fantasy, and thank goodness I did not. That would have been a bad decision. But this is the problem with over relying on a guy like Mamu Kavishvili is, at the end of the day, he's not really ready to give you a consistent, high level production at 30 minutes a game just yet.
Well, there's a reason why he was just floating around and no one really took him. I don't think people that's the reason why. He's a bench dude, and I think sometimes folks in this market and folks that root for this team try to evaluate and overvalue guys that are not necessarily what they are, and it's like just take them for what they are. CMB, I thought, had a really nice game. I think there's something brewing with him and RJ, maybe to a lesser extent with him and Ingram, but there's something definitely brewing with him and RJ, a connection there. And I think the thing that CMB provides to both him and Ingram is that if you're going to play a two-man game, which they don't play too often, but with him you can play it, He
Yeah.
is actually a threat. They actually, actually attack the rim. Like when he dives with purpose. He ain't just diving just to kind of, do a little push shot like with Pirtle. And, he's not diving to kind of just look the pass, like how sometimes when we do screen sometimes. So I think that it definitely gives, pause to the defense when they're running that two-man action. They don't run it enough. And going back to your Scotty point, that was where I was hinting at. The last two nights where once again, this has been a trend for Scotty for the pretty much all his career for the most part.
Yeah, that
Long,
once his three starts going, it's like he
well,
slowly is like Embiid in a playoff setting where he just gets slowly like further and further away.
Well, it's a two-pronged thing. I would say this, and I think this is where I'll have some grace for Scotty on this, because I think more I think about it, it's partially to do with Scotty, but it's partially to do with the philosophy of this coaching staff. Since we don't do a lot of mismatch hunting, they
Mm.
don't get the best defender that's in the front court off of Scotty. So Triple J is going to be the dude. So what that leaves Scotty to do for a lot of it? Shoot threes or jumpers. Same thing
It's
you saw the
true.
night before with Mobley. You watch and see what they're doing. They're like Cleveland. Cleveland's saying, okay, if Scotty's going to be your best defender, let's make life easier. Get switch and a mismatch. And it's feeding time for Mobley, right? Whoever was switching off of Ochai, whoever they pick. And I think that's one of the things where it's like for Scotty to really, that's the reason why the screening's so important for Scotty. Because one of the few times where he might actually have the opportunity to get a mismatch, or the other potential possibility, which he's doing a much better job of this year, because other guys are rebounding a little bit more for him. So he could go and sprint down the court and do a Pascal impersonation and get down the court on a mismatch that way. But if it's like
Mm.
half court offense, with how we run offense, we don't set up a lot of guys to get a lot of mismatches. So unless you're like a guy like where you're a guy Bi who is creative enough to get his own shot off on anybody, fair enough. Or even RJ, most of RJ's scoring is coming off of broken plays or fast break points. It's not really coming out like half court sets. Or if he's like the release valve on a half court set, that's pretty much it. You're not getting a lot of like RJ ISO here, RJ do your thing. That ain't happening either. So, and I'm not knocking RJ for it. He's feeding off of what he's getting, and he's been very efficient. But let's not be fooled by what we're seeing from a half court standpoint. And I think when Jakob ever comes back, I think it'll be actually exasperated a lot more because they're going to see the same issue we were seeing before. Like, oops. But we'll see. But I think
That's
overall,
just it, right? Like
mm-hmm,
it's like the challenges that you had are still exist. They've been
exactly.
muted in some ways because of the level of competition that you're playing, and they've been muted because some of the spacing issues are also muted because Jakob is out.
Mm-hmm,
So it's like you don't have to try to figure out the jigsaw puzzle because
right.
it's one less thing to worry about. Um, if there's anything else about this game, let's go through it. Otherwise, let's just quickly go through the latest craze in Raptors land, which is John Morant. Um, Buckle up, folks. So yeah, I mean, you and I talked about it already, but like, we don't have to go in depth, but it is a hot topic and people want to talk about it, so let's go
Mm-hmm,
through it.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, I think that I wrote a couple things. I posted them in different places, but I just think that John Morant is not really the best person to have as a potential Toronto Raptor. I'm gonna actually I'll build up to the trade possibilities because I think everyone loves the trade possibilities, but I'll talk about that last because it's why splash cold water to start. Um, let's start with this. Um, John Morant is incredibly athletic. He would be one of the most athletic guards that we've ever had. He sure likes to yam it on people. He's an electric player. There's a lot to like about a John Morant in terms of, watching him on the TV. As Coach pointed out in the comments, he is must see TV. That is correct. However, um, with the way that he approaches the game, it's a little bit immature. I'm not talking about his off court stuff, but his on court play is immature because he's always trying to dunk on someone every single time. And that can get you into a little bit of trouble. Um, I'll say one other thing. We have so I've said a lot of positive things. Exciting player, all that type of stuff. He can sure if you need someone to soak up offensive possessions, he can do it. Is he the correct one? Beyond, I'll hand it over to you before I give the numbers on his 3-point shot and all that type of stuff. I think we can get through this segment in about probably 10 minutes at max.
Well, you know me, man. One of my philosophies about, I guess you want to call it team building for an NBA team, and it's ironic because probably my favorite player of all time is Isaiah Thomas. But I'm looking at it from a standpoint. I don't like small guards in this case being the focal point of your offense. And I think having a guy like that, when a league right now has moved past that phase of like that element of having your lead or point guard be your offensive engine, like those days are kind of done. I mean, this isn't the aughts in this case where you have like Steve Francis or to a lesser extent Steve Nash or Jason Kidd, even though they're pass first guys, but they ran through them. Or even if you want to get more scoring guys in this case here, like who was another scoring guy? Iverson technically is more like a two guard. Those days, and that's probably the closest person that he actually reminds me of, actually, to some extent. Even though is Iverson, I think he's, to your point, he's actually more athletic and a little bit more aggressive at the rim, because of that athleticism that Iverson was. But I just think that it doesn't make a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. And it makes sense in one reason, and if you're going to go for the pro, is that our coach loves a point guard, man. He loves to have the ball in the point guard's hands.
He's also familiar with Ja.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The Memphis boys. I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's the scenario where it's like, if you're in the pro camp for this, that's what you're going to get, because he's going to give the ball to John and say, go ahead. What I'd be curious about is they're going to run a lot of DHOs with John. Yeah, would they do that?
Well, to me, you'd have to run better pick and rolls, because Jaw's fast enough to turn the corner that you don't need the DHO to even really get downhill. So, and he can split a double team too. So there's things that Jaw does that is like, oh, okay, like yes, just from a raw pure talent thing, it's like, yeah, he would be better than Quickly. The problem is that for me, number one, on the season he's shooting 15%. on lots of volume, like five attempts a game. And then, because everyone complains about the spacing. You just made a comment about spacing with Jakob. On his career, he's 32%, and he's never really had a year. We were just in Nellie's space, and we were talking, and she made a comment. She said, she was asking, hasn't he had a year that it was better? And it was like, nope, best year was 34.4% in 6 years. And on top of that, we already have Ingram, who's not the most available player in his career. And as I said, Jaw is not also. I understand that there was a suspension and stuff like that. He got injured once, but he has trouble getting up to 65 games a year. He's done it once in his career.
I don't even know. I mean, I'm looking forward to what this trade would be, but like, I'm looking around here and I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, where would even Ja fit in with an offense like this? I don't even know how this would work.
Ja, Pirtle,
you're right, and
CMB, and Scotty.
Like, I don't know how that works. And I think I'm fascinated to see what this trade would be. Because
Coach, are you into it? Coach, it sounds like a coach already has a trade already worked out.
It would seem so.
Coach, are you feeling this trade? Do you want to do this trade?
There's no way Memphis is taking that trade.
Well, that's the first thing. Memphis just traded Baines for 5 picks.
Right.
And I think that they value Ja, even if things aren't working out well in Memphis. They probably value him more than Baines. So as much as everyone seems to think that everything is going to be a discount and a wheel of dealer, I don't think it's going to be that much of a wheeling or a dealing in terms of a Ja Morant deal. Like, that's just how I view it. I really don't know if I view it being that thing. And I'm not giving up any sort of 2026 pick. Hey, James, welcome.
What's up, James?
But to answer the question of whether he would want to come here before we just go down the thing of trading for him, I mean, he doesn't really have a say in it. So that's the first thing. It's just like, he's under contract. But the other thing is, as I pointed out, and I said it like, let me just find the thing that I posted. I said that basically there are certain extracurricular activities that he would enjoy in Toronto.
Fair enough. But like,
I don't
I
know if
mean,
that's a good thing.
that is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. And I think the other thing too is, like you mentioned, the graphic. I'm not sure if it was your graphic or not, so I apologize if it was yours. So we give you credit. But I saw the graphic today showing about how it just a decline, man. Let's in this case, like the stock market crash. In this case, of like looking at what his field goal percentage around the rim is as each
like
year
the
goes
day
by.
that Trump announced the tariffs.
Right, it looked like that.
Yeah, it is
It's
not good.
cratered.
It's like, man.
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
Samuel L. Jackson, hold on to your butts, folks.
yeah. And here we are complaining about guard right now. Don't finish around the hoop right now. So
So he struggles now to finish around the hoop. He does get to the rim. He does actually hit his free throws. I will say that.
oh, he's a
He's a free
fantastic free
throw
throw
man.
shoot. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
97% at the free throws.
Yeah,
But
and he generates a lot of free throws too.
he does generate a lot of free throws. But it's like the other thing too. It's like you look at the assist to turnover ratio. I know that's not the perfect thing as a measure because there's a lot of ways that you can hide it. There's some ways that I think like even Chris Paul was a very conservative passer and protected his things. He's still a good passer, but I think that there's ways that he could
Chris Paul is the Aaron Rodgers of NBA.
Yeah. Yes.
Gotta make sure you get that perfect quarterback rating. Who cares if we actually lose the playoff game?
So it's like, yeah. But I mean, for a guy who's supposedly elite as a playmaker, he's only got like a 3.8 to 1. So it's basically like a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. It's okay. It's not like elite.
No.
As yeah, Raptors need a leader. Well, does Ja seem like a leader right now?
Well, yeah, that was a great point that Alvin made. I thought Alvin really spoke about it really well
On the broadcast?
and thoughtful about it. Coming from a coaching perspective, but also coming from a player's perspective. Like, listen, everybody ain't built to be a leader. Some people grow into leadership. It is what it is. Sometimes I agree with him. Sometimes these things get blown out of proportion by the media and sometimes the teams. Like, honestly, I'm surprised they suspended him for the game. I was like, really? We're suspending him for a game? He's pissed off at the coaching staff for a day, and you're going to suspend him for man, good Lord. They're lucky like back in the 1980s in this case, man, or 1990s, some of the guys used to say stuff. Charles Barkley be suspended every week.
I by the way, Daniel, I would love Jalen Suggs. I don't think we're going to get Suggs. Just flat out. They might be struggling, but we are not going to get Suggs.
But that last point Daniel made, man, it's getting a bit ridiculous now. It's getting a bit ridiculous.
That's why I didn't want. This is another reason why I didn't want Jalen Suggs. I like Jalen Suggs. I know you like Jalen Suggs, but to me, I was like, he was the safe pick, number one. Mm-hmm. I mean, James will tell you that I was, of all the top 4 guys, I was Mobley, a little bit of Franz, but it was mainly Mobley. I think Suggs is a good player, but I just don't think. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's like, I'm not saying he's not worth the contract. It's just like when you have to stay healthy, man. You have to stay on the court.
I don't know what's up with it, the bone structure, what's going on there, but like, my goodness,
I think it's all the football he used to play or something.
Maybe, but it's like 5 games in, you're already hurt already. Like, and funny enough, he too, similar to Ja, has a very physical way they play. Right?
Like, and he just gets into guys on both sides. He gets
into guys on both sides of the court. Like, he ain't coming to go and chat things up when he gets in the lane. So that aggression's fantastic. But sometimes with both players, like, it ends up being some type of a hindrance in this case. And I think that's the problem with both of them, where it's like that aggression's great, but like this is the trade-off. You gotta be able to kind of like, bottle it in some ways, but I always like Suggs for that very reason. It's ironic that 4 or 5 years later, we still need that player. Right? Like, with all due respect, I ain't trying to knock Scotty on this, but we need a Scotty a lot less.
Oh, you mean someone who plays with an edge?
Right. Like edge, but just someone could be a point of attack defender. Like, we are still
just
all that.
Purely, yeah, right. We still don't have a point of attack defender since Larry.
Right.
And
5 years
by the way,
later.
Lowry was underrated and should have won at least one all defense.
Yeah, on one defensive team for sure. Yeah, like, but that's the thing. It's like, that's the reason why Scotty. That's what I say. I'm not trying to hit on Scotty in this case. I'm talking about more the mindset. He was a luxury to get.
He
That's what.
was. He was.
That's what.
It wasn't. He wasn't selected out of like a need of a
And that's what
position.
frustrates me with that pick when it happens. Like, what are we doing here? Because here we are 5 years later, and we got Daniel here asking us, "Can we get Suggs?" And we talk about John Morant.
My, my
Just being
my
honest.
argument at that draft was simple, right? Because if we had Franz, you may not necessarily be saying the same thing. My thing is this: like, when you're doing the development, or if you're gonna pick the Scotty Barnes pick and you go back, right? I have no problems with Scotty Barnes being the pick then, and I have no problems about it now. As I said, my only thing was Mobley. I'll still say Mobley. If we stayed where we were, it was Franz. We moved up in the draft. Is you then have to act accordingly and build the team and identify the right guys. You could if you want to build around Scotty Barnes, then do that more quickly. If you want to build around Scotty Barnes, so the problem is that they would draft wings and then give the ball to the point guard. And it wouldn't run offense through your wings, even if your wings are more suited to run your offense. That makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to go get a center that doesn't fit around your wings to make life more difficult for the wings. I've heard of some conspiracy theory where Pirtle was asked for by Siakam. Well, when Siakam was traded, he told you who he wanted.
Right. The guy
he wanted to play with Turner.
Right.
like,
it's like, and the thing is, it's not even like, it's like, Siakam had to be, and it's coming of like Pat Riley or Jerry West to figure that out. Like, it's like, no, dude, like, yeah, that's the type of guy that would suit my game the best. Shocking.
Right.
And they, and same thing goes
and
here.
It would have helped Scotty Barnes too. People complain about spacing. Guess what? It would have helped both guys.
Right. And like, hey, at the point when we had it, we weren't getting Mobley, so I didn't even bother with thinking about that. So I was more of I was more of a Green or a Suggs guy. And the reason why I still want Green is I want a guy who could get his own shot. Here we are now 5 years later. We ain't got no dude in this can get his own shot from the perimeter.
I'll say this, Daniel. I don't think it's about that. I think Turner just want to get paid. To be honest, he's always been about that money.
Right.
Money and Lego.
Exactly, because it wasn't a guarantee that Indiana would pay him that money. That was the discussion coming out of the finals.
Because at first it was like, oh, we're ready to go into the luxury tax, which I don't know what that means.
Indiana's never done it.
We're willing to give you like $15 million. He was never going to get the money that he got in Milwaukee from Indiana. They were never going to give him that money unless they won the finals. That was it. Right. And the way that he was playing game by game, you just saw the dollars escaping his pocket.
and then the Lillard deal
sign right here, sir.
Yeah, the Lillard situation just gave him that off ramp where it's like, oh, thank you.
Woo. Yes. Amnesty Lillard to get some. And so let's see what James says. Raptors need yes.
Well, we had this discussion this afternoon.
Yes.
This is a great point here, James. Yes. Yes. You want us to discuss
fresh eyes.
You want to pick up where we left off this afternoon about this discussion?
I don't know because we might not have enough a stream left.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll make it short and sweet.
But we can talk about it briefly.
What your point is?
We'll go to 35 minutes and we'll cut it.
Yeah, we agree at your point, James. I think that is the concern because right now when you have a jaw situation, if we had a fresh set of eyes and a different person, this wouldn't even be a discussion because we'd be in full rebuild mode at this point. But now because we have Bobby, we ain't sure of Bobby in this case here because he's working the Shaggy, it wasn't me philosophy. We ain't really sure what he's done versus what Masai's done. So we're in this limbo where this may be a real possibility. So I'll leave it there. Boy, tough thing with Harper ruled out, man. I tell you.
Yeah. Say what you want, man. He's had a really good game, really good set of games so far in his career. So I think he's been really, really phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, just in terms of the Bobby thing, I just like. And by the way, I mean, I know he's ruled out, but he was still 5 of 8 tonight. Um, like, that's crazy. Um, yeah, I mean, I wasn't a Bobby supporter in terms of him getting this new gig. Everyone knows I would have went with like the Pacer guy or whatever. That isn't what ended up happening, but ultimately, it's just one of those things, right? Like you said, the jaw thing shouldn't even be a discussion. Shouldn't even be a worry. I think Raptor fans are now they always want to go for the vulture trade. Like this one guy was like going back and forth with me today. He's just like, oh well, if it's cheap, if the price is right. Sometimes I mean I'm not calling jaw trash, so don't clip me in this way. But sometimes another man's trash is just another man's trash. Okay, it's just straight up. You don't have to go dumpster diving, and always, and polish it and spit shine and see it's brand new, right? No, and sometimes it just leave the what's in the dumpster, right? It's why sometimes I'm not gonna get into like parenting philosophies. Sometimes where it's like people you go to the doctor's office and people say don't touch the toys in the doctor's office to the kids because it's like it's someone else's toy and there's a bunch of sick kids touching all up on all the toys and stuff like that. It's the same type of thing. Sometimes it's like, no, I'm good, right? You just stop. So to me, that's where I'm at with this type of situation. Not every single time a quote unquote star comes available, you have to be the one that is in it. And to Daniel's point, bringing up another great point, Daniel, on a roll today, is you look at the cap stuff, and it's like, okay, so the cap sheet's not great. Let's make it worse by adding Jaw.
And going back to Jay's point, who's running the cap for us?
That too. And not only that, but again, people are try to always do these, like the coach brought up the trade that a lot of people are talking about where it's like two picks quickly, and Ochai. So let me give you, let me get the pocket change from my couch that I don't want and I'm complaining about all the time. Here you go. And stuff like, no,
so what was your trade though? Before we could sign off,
I don't have any realistic trades. My whole point in formulating the trades is that it's probably going to be RJ. Sorry, coach, because realistically they want to get off money sooner because they just got off money. That was the whole point of them. In fact, they just got KCP to get off money earlier with Baines, and that was part of the argument of it. So then, if you combine that with RJ, which would align perfectly with that KCP contract, so that next offseason, not this upcoming one, they could get into the mix of whoever's there. I don't know. It's not going to be Shea this time. It's going to be someone else because he's locked up. Now you could overpay for some whoever. I mean, maybe it's like maybe that's you go grab Kuminga then, or maybe it's someone else. I don't know. To give up that. Like to sell them on RJ, other than for the cap space, you're going to have to give up multiple picks. And those picks have to start with 2026. We already gave up a 2026 pick, and we're not Joe Dumars, so I'd rather not. How about you?
No, no, I'm not giving up any picks for anybody at this point, man.
So then there's no Jaw trade.
Yeah, Like at this point, at some point, the Raptors front office have to grow up and realize what their situation is.
Yeah. As I told you, you gotta. Yeah. I know. Will's trolling, but yeah. No thanks. I'm good. I mean to be honest.
I don't even puts it. Levine, a point guard. Good Lord, give me anybody.
No. I know who he's thinking.
Oh, my man!
My man's gonna return.
Oh, no way. The return?
The return.
Oh, my
God.
The
return of the Mac.
Oh, my God. Oh, Lord, I would start.
Can you imagine? It's like all of a sudden Scotty opens the door to the locker room. And it's like Dennis is right there, like, hey, I'm back. He's back.
Oh my God.
Oh man, what would I give to be in that? Oh, man, that would need to be an open gym special. That would be brilliant, brilliant.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. Uh, oh, geez.
brilliant, utterly brilliant. Um, what if Coloco would have hit? I mean, we can always play woulda, coulda, should have. The Coloco thing is sad. Same with the Ulrich thing. I can't speak on Ulrich because I don't know what's going on with him, right? Like we haven't heard what the issue is. We've just heard that he's with health and safety. So it could be similar to Coloco. It could be something else. It could be a whole slew of things. And I don't want to speculate on the guy's health without I'm not Shams. I don't speculate on people's health unnecessarily. So yeah. Agree. I definitely agree with this though, 100%. Sorry, I keep thinking of the thing. Um, and I know you're half trolling with the trade for Trey. Trey would actually run our offense really well, but again, just like with Jaw, we never actually talked about this with Jaw. Jaw doesn't defend.
Exactly. Boy.
That's like we skipped over that part real quick.
Yeah. My man's died on a screen like no one's business, man. It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm actually going to pull up some of the stats for Trey Young. So Trey Young would actually, he would in fact probably help us in some ways.
yeah.
He too is not shooting the ball well though. Holy smokes. Um,
But Trey's just a naturally gifted point guard. Like he just.
but
knows
he's a much better point guard than Ja. I
can.
trust his shooting. I think he shoots a little bit too much, and I don't think he's ever going to shoot like Steph Curry. But I trust his shooting to be, say, 35, 40, somewhere in that neighborhood in between, more than I trust Ja to become even up to this level.
Plus, he's a more
like
natural passer than Ja.
That too.
He's just like he's arguably, I say, maybe he Ball. I'm not sure who else I can think of. Like if you're talking about just flat best passers in the league, the two of them would be on a short list.
Yeah.
Probably Luka would be in that mix.
Yeah, Luka makes things difficult for himself.
Yeah, times he does. That's why I kind of
folks ignore the ad here. They don't sponsor us, and I'm just gonna take that off screen.
Like we're touchy these days on these things.
After all the gambling stuff, maybe don't have like a auto bet ad. So yeah, but overall, I just don't think that there's a singular trade that's meant to help us or anything like that. I think we just have to, the Raptors can't really afford that money. I think the best thing that the Raptors can do is stay the course, evaluate the team over the next 10 games, and make a decision. And more than likely, that decision is going to be a cost-saving move or a move to, if they're not a good team, then it's probably going to be a move, even if it's an earth-shattering move, it's probably going to be a move that is more focused on the draft.
True. I would hope so.
Like even an Ochai for a couple seconds or a second, I'm down for.
That would be nice.
A second in like a bottom of barrel, like
no doubt, coach. Take the Buckleys, man. But these guys don't want to take the Buckleys. Everybody try to shortcut it. It's like sometimes you just gotta take that Buckleys, man.
Hey man, it is what it is. Any final thoughts before I make some weird analogy again?
You know what? We're gonna have some fun this week, man. We're gonna find out a lot about this team this week. They get Philadelphia, they get Milwaukee, so we're gonna get some real competition this week and see what we're dealing with. They got the return with Atlanta on Friday, so I am curious to see what this looks like. For coming up on this weekend or this week, because now we got some serious, and they get Philly again on Saturday. So they got Philly twice this week, Atlanta and Milwaukee. So. It's funny. I'll just say this. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I can see a scenario where it doesn't play out well in this case here. And it's funny. You made a very cryptic tweet today on the news what's going on in New Orleans. I'll just leave it at that. Sometimes, man, some teams, yes.
The Willie Green?
Yes. I'll leave it there. Sometimes it ain't that hard and complex, guys.
So the James asked the chat a question, or I guess, or he might be asking everyone. Uh, hey man, we're not there yet. We're we're above this. we're we don't gotta do that. Hey man, and I'll say this: Darko needs no help. He needs no help. Would
Um,
you trade? Would you trade Scotty? Um, it again, it all depends on. For me, it depends on several things. Number one, what is the return? And if he's playing well enough that, but the team is like really stinky, like, and you think that you can maintain that level of play to the end of the season or whatever, then it might be better to. You just basically have to assess if you're gonna go into a complete tank, like when it's the right time to trade guys. So if a guy will maintain their value into the draft, then you do it at the draft. Because at the end of the day, a guy like Scotty, and we'll see how the season plays out. He's a really good player. You could sell him as like how do I put it? Jaw is a perfect example of this actually. You look at guys and you realize having a guy who's worst off court issue is okay, sometimes you hear he's on Twitch a lot. Okay, I'd rather that than some of the issues like the Zion issues or whatever else is going on with folks, right? So that he's young and stuff like that. I heard someone today mention that Ingram has our most value. He doesn't because he has a player option after this year. He's on a short-term deal, and it's kind of a prove-it deal. So Ingram's not really the most value. It's Scotty. So that would be my thing. Is it all like I'm down to trade anyone and everyone at any times. I have no allegiances at all. Never have. But it just has to make sense. You?
um, I'll just knock this off in two things. One, Will, you're not getting a top 10 player for Scotty Barnes. That ship sailed. Two, I think I have now shifted my focus instead of trying to get a top line player, if you want to call it that. I'm shifting my focus of trying to get resources and getting draft picks. If I, a young player or two and draft picks. That's what I'm looking for if I'm trading Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, I just think again, like you can't close yourself off to any possibilities. So, for example, just let's play devil's advocate. Let's say there is a top 10 player, and Giannis says, we will win in Toronto again, right? Right?
Right.
To not even discuss Scotty Barnes is ridiculous, right?
Right.
I,
But
I
I mean,
think no
yeah.
player on this team is untouchable.
No. I mean, I'm not saying this. I think if you're being fair,
Puns for Rozier.
Just to finish it, Scotty Barnes is, looked at, I think, at a higher regard to something than Jalen Green. But not, I don't think it's that far the gap in this case. And Jalen Green, in this case, got Kevin Durant at 37 years old. I'm not sure if Kevin Durant's a top 10 player at this point in his career. I think everyone's saying no, he's not. So if you just put that as like a marker in there, Scotty might get you something a little bit better if you're going to go for an established player, but you're not getting Giannis at this point. I think that possibility was still there.
No. That ship has sailed. And just so folks know, just as a disclaimer, because I see people jumping in here, I did not bring this. James asked the question. We are answering the question. So the chat, I'm not putting it on James either. I'm just saying we are just.
No, it's on me. I said so. So I'll respond to you, man. Here's what I'm saying. We are not a team that can win right now. So we have to go back to basics, which means we need a younger player than Scotty. Scotty is no little kid anymore, guys.
The other thing is that Scotty's not on a rookie scale contract. So I think that's what you're getting at is like it's about having a rookie scale contract that you can have a controllable thing and that you can like at the end of the day you have to assess whether a guy is a guy or the guys that you have are the guys, right? And whether that is going to lead somewhere. So a good example is Philadelphia had really high draft picks, and they didn't believe in their guys. They had Iguodala, they had Thaddeus Young, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These are really good players at the time and moving forward. They felt like these aren't our guys.
Right.
in terms of putting us over the top and really leading us to the promised land eventually. So instead of putting a square peg in a round hole, they didn't do that. And to be fair, voice of fans Canada, you said that they would be top six. They haven't really performed like a top six team so far, if I'm remembering a few chats ago. So
So
I
yeah.
think,
So
you
what are we
know,
doing?
don't I feel this team? No, I don't. They haven't performed as a top six team.
I'm close.
If you think that tonight's win against a busted Memphis or the game against Cleveland that missed four, like really, if Cleveland had one other
One more. I'm
starter,
thinking today,
literally one other starter,
literally
because they're missing Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell,
or
okay, Allen, and Sam Merrill.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah.
four guys.
If
So
one of those starters were on the court, I said they lose
right,
that game.
we just got bodied in some ways to Jericho's point against Josh Landale or whoever the heck this dude is. And you're telling me that this is a top six team in the East? The East ain't that weak, man. I'm sorry, but it's not.
Poor Josh Landale catching strays, man.
So, like, we have to be realistic. It's nice to be fun about the team and stuff like that. Again, I'm not. This didn't start off with me being like, oh, like, let's go on a trade mission, right? Like, no.
Right.
I talked about the game, and I said we should not trade for Ja. That's what I said, and you agreed. But in terms of the overall thing, no, we're not a top six team, and we're not performing it. If we do perform like a top six team, I'll say we're performing like a top six team. We have the 29th worst defense in the NBA. That is not top six worthy. Play good defense, play good offense, then we can talk.
Right.
Sharp trade for cheap big. I mean, that would be great. But yeah. Do they want Mamu? Okay. Anything else? Because we stayed a little bit longer.
Yeah, no, we're good, man.
Yeah. It becomes like the Scotty Obsession show, which is like, dude, I'm trying to get out of here. Yeah. Yeah. Point is, don't trade players for low values. Don't trade players for a bucket of balls. Trade them for good value, and yeah.
All right.
Germany has the best basketball in the world. Well, if I'm not mistaken, you guys did win a World Cup recently. So, yeah, sure. There you go. For now, you are. So yeah. One other thing. I'll handle this. You got to listen. Okay. When I say we have not performed as a top six team thus far, that means thus far. That's why I said if that changes, I'll report on it. But I'm not going to report. I'm not Nostradamus or Negrodamus or whatever. I don't have insight into the future. I wish I did. I'd buy the lottery numbers, would have bet on the Jays last night, all this type of stuff. Hey, I'd be a very wealthy man. Okay, let me tell you something. But until that happens, I have to report on what I'm seeing. I have to say what I'm seeing, and I'm not going to lie to you. You call me Lewenberg? I'm not Lewenberg. I'm not. You're asking me to throw shade against Lewenberg, but yeah. Oh, this is what he said. Okay. I thought you were calling me Lewenberg. I was worried, man. I don't think so. So Darko on IQ, we all know what kind of player he is, do we? There is no secret formula. We gotta take it one game at a time. Exactly. Yeah. Take it one game at a time.
I need to do a better job building his confidence.
Yeah. The last time he said that we like this type of thing, like the guy needed to smile because he liked his smile. It was Malachi Flynn. He's not on the team anymore. Anytime Darko talks positively about something or someone, that dude is gone.
The assassin.
Yeah. Again, voice, you're not listening. They're not a top six team right now. Like they're not. When they become a top six team, we'll talk. Technically, if you wanted to play devil's advocate, they're top 7 team today. But no, bottom.
What, give him
Second from the
127, give him 127, 26 points a
second
night.
from the bottom team in defense is not a top 6 team.
Oh man.
Top,
Look, man, save your time, man. Let's wrap this up, man.
yeah, this is telling me I gotta go study. So, anyways, y'all, enjoy, take care, come back. And voice, you have all license. If they're a top 16, come back for 100%. You
Yeah,
can
shout
tell
out.
me.
Broken Berlin gave us a sub, man. So shout out.
Yes, and Broken Berlin, thanks for the sub. Daniel, good to see you. Shout out to everyone. I think James was in the chat. Not sure if he's still there. 4-1. Shout out, brother. Will, shout out. I'm sure I'm missing someone.
Voice, man, shout out, man.
Effie. Yeah, voice, shout out. It's not the first time he's been here, so definitely shout
So
out. If
yeah,
you're
they
willing to
love
come
it, man.
back and stuff like
Keep
that,
coming
yeah.
back, man.
Yeah, he's to come back for that smoke.
Yeah, keep coming back, man.
So yeah, but and coach of course is not able to be here, but shout out. People like, comment, and subscribe on your way in. Enjoy. And yeah. And show me the money. Take care, people. Peace.
All right, peace.